Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Gaming, and today I'm going to be making a video talking about my most anticipated games. Now this is a video that I've wanted to make for quite a while now. I think it is like a really good choice for me to start up this channel, since this is a channel about a variety of video games. I might as well just start it off with making a video about my most anticipated games. I've just been kind of trying to figure out how exactly I wanted to make this video, if I wanted to make it a more in-depth edited video or just kind of like a discussion video. And I think I'm going to go with more of the discussion style instead of like heavily editing it. And also, some of the games I'm going to be talking about don't have gameplay or trailers, so there really isn't anything for me to use when I'm talking about them. So I'm just going to use gameplay from like one game in the background, and then I'll throw up a logo of the game I'm going to be talking about, just to make everything look a little bit more professional and a smooth transition into the next game that I'm going to be talking about. So I picked 4 games for this list. These are just like the 4 that come to my mind if I'm trying to think about what games I'm looking forward to the most. Now there is way more games that I'm excited about. I could probably think of like 10 off the top of my head, and just like every year there's always games that come out that end up being like almost my game of the year or something like that. So there's always going to be those surprises and games that I'm not necessarily looking forward to, but I know I'll like them. Anyways, I'd love to hear from you guys. What are your most anticipated games? Be sure to leave them in the comment section below and we can kind of have a discussion about this. And this is in no particular order, though I do have a most anticipated game. The rest of them just kind of fall in a similar area, even though there is some I'm looking forward to more than others. It's not enough for me to number these. Anyways, to just get this out of the way, I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated game. This is a big surprise. I'm sure none of you guys are going to be able to guess this, but it is Batman Arkham Knight. Alright, so I've made so many videos about this game, so I'm not going to talk about it forever. But since it is my most anticipated game, it deserves a spot on this list, and I'm going to say some nice things about it, obviously. So I loved all of the Arkham games. Didn't love Origins as much, but I still really liked it. This game looks absolutely amazing from everything we've seen so far. I've been a Batman fan ever since I was a little kid watching the cartoons on TV. I've loved this character pretty much my whole life, and also with me growing my channel on YouTube kind of based around this game, I feel like this game is going to be a different experience than anything I've ever experienced before, since I've never really talked about a game this much in my life before. I've made so many videos talking about Arkham Knight. To finally be able to sit there and play this game is going to be a crazy experience. I've met so many different people and so many awesome experiences around this game, and it hasn't even released yet, just me hyping it up and reviewing the trailers. And you guys know all the videos I've made about the game before. So that is why it is my most anticipated game. Moving on to the next game, I'm going to be talking about Rise of the Tomb Raider. So this is one of those games that really surprised me, because I wasn't looking forward to this game until like a couple weeks ago when I actually played the first one. Now I had never played any of the Tomb Raider games growing up, and I always wanted to get around to playing the reboot of the franchise. And I never did until last month, or I guess still this month. It was free on Xbox Live, and it was on sale on the Xbox One. I don't think it is anymore, but I've heard so many great things about it, and a lot of people were telling me to play it. And I ended up buying it. Even though it was free, I wanted to get the better version, I guess, on the Xbox One, even though it really isn't that much of a difference. It just looks a little bit better, and it was only like $15. So I decided to buy it, and I ended up really liking the game enough to where I'm extremely excited about the sequel. I didn't really have any expectations going in, but it did surprise me. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. It was a little bit darker than I was expecting. You know, this isn't really like one of those really fun adventures with looking for treasure and happy music and stuff like that. It is a really dark game. There's a lot of brutal moments, and when you die, it's really graphic. Especially when it's first starting off, it almost has the sense of a horror game at the beginning, since you are just this girl who's basically trapped on an island. You're trying to figure out where you are, how to escape the island, being forced into situations where you have to defend yourself and kill people and become more of this badass character. It's just kind of an awesome journey overall. I found the gameplay really smooth too. Everything played really well. It felt like a really polished game. The graphics are still really good. Just an overall great experience. I recommend it to all of you guys if you enjoy this style of a game. Don't really have any complaints about it, so I'm just super excited about the sequel. Since we are going to be going to a new location, seeing the next chapter in Lara Croft's life, seeing how the game looks, a bunch of new different enemies, I would assume, and weapons, and I'm hearing they're gonna make the game a lot more complicated, making the tombs more challenging and in-depth. So basically everything they're adding to this game just sounds great to me, and I cannot wait to finally play this game. I'm not sure if it has a release date. I don't think it does right now. I think it's just going to release in the holiday season. But if you haven't played the first game, I recommend that you guys get around to it so you can play the sequel. Moving on to the third game that I'm looking forward to the most, Star Wars Battlefront. So this is possibly my second most anticipated game. The Battlefront franchise was probably the games that I played the most in my childhood. I used to play those games so much every day after school. I would play them all night. My memories are a little bit rusty on them though. I don't even really remember that much about the games, like what they actually were, what the objectives were, if there was even a story mode or anything like that. I don't really remember a lot about them. I just remember being a kid and being thrilled with the fact that I get to play as these characters from the Star Wars movies and see all those locations in like these big epic war battle sequences. It was just awesome to me as a kid, and it still sounds really awesome, and I can't wait to see a modern take on it since it's been so long since the other Battlefront games. I think it's been like 10 years. So I'm really excited to see what DICE does with it. There's very little details on the upcoming Star Wars Battlefront game, though we are going to be getting our first trailer or gameplay or something next month, which I'm really excited about, and I'm definitely going to make a video on my thoughts on that. I just can't wait to see how this game is going to look, to see what they're going to be adding to it, the scale of it. And I think with where technology is now and where video games are and how far they've come in the past 10 years, I think they have a big chance on giving us the ultimate Star Wars feel and making those battles feel larger and more epic than ever. I don't think this is like a reboot of the franchise, even though it is called Star Wars Battlefront. I keep reading that it's like the third installment, but it's called Star Wars Battlefront. Kind of confusing. I always hate when they do that with franchises, when like the fourth installment has the exact same name as the first. Just kind of confusing. I think they might be doing it for advertising reasons, just because it sounds like a new thing, maybe to get more people on board since the other games were so long ago. See if they can get some new customers, since if they were to title it 3, people might be turned off by the game, since it would seem like it's the third installment in a franchise, and if you haven't played the first 2, they might feel out of the loop, so that might be why they're titling it like this. But who knows? On to the final game that I'm kind of more curious about and then looking forward to, Assassin's Creed Victory. Now, I don't even think this game has been officially announced. This game leaked, I think, a couple months ago. So Assassin's Creed is one of those franchises that I loved at the start. The first Assassin's Creed, I think, was the very first Xbox 360 game that I ever saw, and I remember being blown away by the graphics and thinking it looked amazing. And then it was one of the first games I played on my 360 when I finally got it. Love the game. It doesn't hold up now though if you were to go back and play it. Feels really dated. It's a really repetitive game. But Assassin's Creed 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. Absolutely love that game. I think this story and the way it's told still holds up really well today. I think most of you guys have probably played that game. Fairly popular game. And then after that, it's been really hit or miss, really up and down. I thought Brotherhood is pretty good. Didn't really like Revelations. Assassin's Creed 3 was overall disappointing, but I didn't think it was that bad. And then 4 was pretty good, and then Unity. The more I think about Unity, the less that I enjoy it. I didn't really like it as much as I thought I did. It just was kind of average overall. There wasn't really anything exceptional or exciting about the game. It just felt like another Assassin's Creed game. I feel like they have a hard time finding where they want to go with this franchise in terms of where the story is. Ever since the loved characters of Ezio and stuff disappeared, when they moved on to newer characters, there hasn't really been a character that people connected with as much. I haven't really liked any of the assassins since Ezio as much as I liked him. And even with the modern day story, with Unity, it was basically not even there. Ever since Desmond died, there's just been really no direction, and it's been kind of hard to keep up with as well, since last year we had 2 Assassin's Creed games with Rogue and Unity. I think people are just getting tired of the series, also with some of the games releasing fairly buggy and not really that polished. But for some reason I just still keep holding on hope for this franchise, that they're going to be able to save themselves at some point and release another excellent game, since I know they're able to. They've done it before. I'm just really hoping they can kind of recapture the great things that the series has done before. Even though from the very little details we have on Victory, it's not exactly what I hope for. I personally would prefer if we weren't getting an Assassin's Creed game this year and they just waited a little bit, gave us something way more unique. It's kind of stood in its own area a little bit more and stood out from the other games. Since Assassin's Creed, one of the great things about the series is it has basically all of history open up to it to do whatever they want, and they still kind of stick in a similar area in terms of what the gameplay is. I would love to see a location that is completely different and unique. I know a lot of people have been asking for like Japan or China. I think it'd be really cool to see something like Egypt or something that just feels and looks a lot different than what we've seen before. So that's why I'm a little bit disappointed that this game is going to be set in Victorian London, I believe. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm sure they're going to capture the city very well. It's just after a while, I'm wondering how all of these cities, like we've seen before, all of the Italian cities we've seen, and Paris and London now, I'm wondering after a while, how long is it going to take until it just feels like we're just running around in another city, in another Assassin's Creed game, without giving us large variety in locations. But I'm still really interested in this and hoping it can do something really awesome. There is going to be some new gameplay features and everything. Anyways, like I said before, leave all of your most anticipated games in the comment section below. What do you think of mine? I'm going to be covering all of these games as much as I can on this channel. If you're new to this channel, please be sure to subscribe. As always, it's been Meteor Gaming, and I will see you guys in my next video.